Hello everyone and welcome to my F1 2018 career mode. In the background for the next minute or so you're going to see the intro. I'm sure most people who've probably seen this game will know. So my name's Silla, or James as you can just see there. That's going to be my audio name. Yeah, so this is going to be an F1 gameplay as you're going to see in the background in a second. We are going to be doing 100% races. The difference about this is that normally, so on F1 2017 I played with a controller, but this time I'm actually going to be using a wheel. I'm going to be using the Logitech G29. So as you can see, going through all my assists and everything, I'm not going to have any assists on apart from the racing line, which is only going to be for corners. I think for Season 2 I'm going to take this, the line off. But full qualifying, formation laps, 100% races, yeah. So after we load through all of this, now we're going to go meet our agent, Emma, again, and be introduced to Claire, who's part of the media, which is going to influence, as they did in 2010, but it's a lot different this year, as I'm sure most people probably know. In a second we'll meet Carl, and then we'll go into the practice sessions. So for the practice sessions, I didn't actually record that much. After the practice intro, you're going to see little clips of all my practice programs. Actually in FP2, funny enough, which you'll see, I actually was top of the timesheets when I did my qualifying program. So we're going to jump into that in just a second. Let's jump into free practice.
Welcome to our viewers from around the globe. You join us just as today's practice session for the Australian Grand Prix is about to start. So Anthony, lots to do of course in these sessions, lots of programs to run. What are you looking for when you jump in the car for free practice?
Well, you have basic checks first of all. Is the car working correctly? What are the track conditions like? And you'll be chasing that as the session goes on. Things like that. Then you start getting into the nitty-gritty of it all, and they become more like test sessions where it's all about gathering new data, testing components, tweaking the setup and so on. So there's only so much actual practice that these drivers need. Most of them will be plenty familiar enough with the track layout, either from previous experience or from the simulator. In the unforgiving world of Formula One, free practice sessions are a vital part of any Grand Prix weekend. During your F1 career, you'll be able to utilise these sessions to complete practice programs which will help you learn the track and earn you points that can be invested in developing your car. You'll also be able to adjust your car setup over the course of these sessions to try and find those extra fractions of a second.
Morning, it's Jeff here. I'm looking forward to working with you as your race engineer. Hope you've had your coffee, because we have a lot of work to do today to get ready for the season ahead. We're ready to fire up the car. Why not head out and get a few early laps under your belt?
So as we're about to see now, end of practice 2, top of the timesheets. Going to skip through. Did have a little bit of a fuel glitch during the race strategy. If you restart the race, it seems to produce this where you don't use any fuel glitch. But now we're going to jump into qualifying.
Welcome to Melbourne, where qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix should be getting underway shortly. I want to talk briefly about the strategy in these qualifying sessions. Anthony Davidson, how can a driver adjust their approach to gain those critical extra tenths of a second?
Well, qualifying isn't about adjusting your approach necessarily. It's more about trying to repeat a low fuel run that you've practiced prior to this session. You're looking for perfection on the lap, and that's hard to achieve if you're trying something new. There are some variables that can stand in your way, however. Track position or unexpected yellow flags, for example. Coupled with ever-changing track conditions, it's important to be out there at the right moment. But as a driver, you have to try and ignore these distractions and just keep your mind focused on that one perfect lap.
Right, it's not going to be easy getting into the next qualifying session, but we know you'll give it your all.
So, wasn't expecting great things out of this qualifying session as we start Q1. Got Fernando Alonso behind us, but I'm just going to keep pushing forwards. I'm not going to let him past. Turn 3 1, little bit shaky. Out of turn 2, massive bit of oversteer. Managed to hold it. And that was kind of the only big moment. Coming out sector 1 now, 28 flat. It was an okay first sector 1, despite the problems. Coming out of sector 2 now, 57, I believe that says. So not too bad. And then finally towards the finish line, do a 1:24.5. This was an okay lap. I believe Alonso goes around and does another lap now. Cuts in a Q1, 11th. It was okay. Made it out of Q1 though. Cut to lap 2 now. Q2, sorry. Go through turns 1 and 2. No problems. So this lap was pretty uneventful. But it was actually a 10th slower. Wasn't particularly happy with this lap, so I did go out again, which I didn't record. But as I started my second lap, Bottas was alongside me going into turn 1, which completely screwed up the lap. So as we're now going to cut back before I do my second lap, as you can see I'm 10th, and fortunately enough that lap was actually good enough, so we make it into Q3. As we get to Q3, we have a lubrication fault, which is obviously a little bit of an inconvenience, but now we're going to start Q3. I won a flying lap, won an flying lap, 27.7 for the first sector, so 3/10 up. Still maintaining that 3/10 up. Little bit of a moment coming out of turn 12, but managed to keep it going. And we cross the line for a 24 flat, which is good enough for P6. And as we cut now towards the end of the session, we'll see we have qualified P6. So that was really surprising for me. I was not expecting to be P6 at all.
Goodbye for now then, but we're really just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
So I'm really happy with that qualifying. So now we're going to head straight into the race.
New drivers, new cars and a new Formula One season. But it's the same Albert Park that we've come to know and love for more than 2 decades now that hosts the first round of a 21 race championship, taking us from here in Melbourne, Australia, across the globe before we eventually reach the season finale at Yas Marina Circuit in Abu Dhabi. Here's the track then, 16 corners, 6 to the left and 10 to the right. They make up the 3.3 miles around Albert Park Lake, with turn 1 and 3 providing the best opportunities to pass. We have plenty of changes to the sport this year, with the addition of new safety features, the return of France and Germany in an expanded 21 race calendar, and more tyre compounds than ever before. And of course, we have some big car manufacturers back in the sport too, with Alfa Romeo and Aston Martin returning as title sponsors for Sauber and Red Bull respectively. Joining me to take you through all the action of the 2018 Formula One season is Anthony Davidson. Great to have you with us.
Thanks, Crofty. Always happy to be here. I'm looking forward to getting underway. Last year was Mercedes' 4th Constructors' title in a row, although for the first half of the season it was absolutely neck and neck with the Ferraris. Hopefully this year we can see the chase in pack take that final step, as I'd love to see a championship contest all the way up to the final race in Abu Dhabi. Another story to keep an eye on is the relative performance of McLaren and Toro Rosso, who have exchanged power unit suppliers this year. And given the additional restrictions on engine components, they need to be strong in terms of both performance and reliability.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Daniel Ricciardo starts from pole position today, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Raikkonen, Vettel, Valtteri Bottas, James, Verstappen, Magnussen, Hülkenberg and Roman Grosjean, Perez, Alonso, Peirre Gasly and Sainz, Leclerc, Van Dorn, Esteban Ocon and Lance Stroll, Sirotkin and Marcus Ericsson rounds off the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Okay, we qualified higher than we were anticipating. Let's see if we can do just as well in the race.
So as you can see from the strategy, I did actually lower the fuel a little bit as we're about to start the formation lap here. Simple 2-stop, I believe we're coming in on lap 12. And then that will leave us with 44 laps, so we'll do 22 laps on the supers, 22 laps on each pair of super softs. 2 brand new pairs of super softs, so going to make sure I make use of both of those. So going off for the formation lap, but obviously it's formation lap, nothing really happens. So cutting to 5 red lights, 3, 4, 5, and we are off for our first race. It was an okay start. Max Verstappen gets an absolute blinder. He's already pulled alongside us, already pulled in front of us. We're going to try and send it down the inside, try and get that position back. We do. Oh, slight bit of contact with Bottas, managed to lock up, keep it from being anything major, get away with it, slight bit of oversteer coming out of turn 2. But that's us back up into 6th place after an okay start. Max got an absolute blinder. A little bit of pressure now from Max as we go through 3, go through 4. Hamilton and I think that's Vettel actually up in front of us, really fighting with each other, which is really good to see. Raikkonen getting held up in a little bit. Bottas are now caught up to them. We're now catching up to them. Out of turn 1 now. Sector 1, sorry. Heading towards sector 2. Going to head towards the big braking zone. I believe this is 9. And oh wow, just managed to avoid hitting Bottas there. They were so slow going through that corner. It really caught me out by surprise. Managed to just avoid hitting him though. As we head towards now sector 2. It was an okay start. We didn't lose anything. Well, we lost a place at the beginning, but we brought that back. So now we're going to cut to lap 2. And as we come out towards the beginning of the second sector, it's going to be a yellow flag. So, okay. Actually, the counts dropped to 19.
Okay, clear.
And we've got a safety car.
The safety car has been deployed. Watch your delta. Make sure you keep it positive as we catch the pack.
So we're 2 laps into our first race. We've already got our first safety car. And we've lost a driver. And I believe we've lost Sergio Perez. So I think he had engine failure. So not great for him. 2 laps into his first race and his engine's already failed, so that's going to put him really on the back foot towards the end of the season. As we got to lap 4 now, safety car's coming in. Stone cold tyres on the restart, which isn't going to help. Like driving on ice around this bit as we come out towards the penultimate corner. I lost so much time, I just didn't have any confidence because I didn't have any heat in my tyres. Coming through the last corner, doing really well not to lose it at all. A little bit of pressure from Max, but as we accelerate now towards turn 1, we seem to have dropped him. Turn 1, turn 2, little bit iffy, little bit slow, but we've got cold tyres. We're going to have to wait half a lap or so for these tyres to warm up. So head towards now lap 12, turn 3. Gone in a little bit deep, and Max has now got a really good run out of the final corner. That corner, but we just about managed to be able to keep ahead of him. So everything's all good now, I think. Towards the first sector, we've lost a lot of bit of time, so we're going to have to try and work that back if we can. But now we're going to cut towards lap 6, and I don't know really what happened in this corner here. I kind of went a little bit deep, but Max got really good runs, so now we're going to be under pressure from him as we head towards the end of sector 2. I believe he's even going to try, yeah, he's going to try and move up the inside. We do cut him off. It was fair, there was no contact. But kind of after this happened, as we now cut towards the end of lap 6 here, he kind of just disappeared all of a sudden. We now dropped him by 2 seconds as DRS gets enabled. He's now 2.5 seconds ahead. Lap 7, we have a strategy change potentially, so we're going to have a look at that in a second. Wants us to come in at lap 9. No, I'm going to stick with my original strategy, especially with the safety car. I'm going to stay out. And kind of after this, it just kind of nothing really happened. I was just maintaining the gap behind towards Max. Wasn't really closing in on Bottas. Lap 10, engineer's telling me now that I'm going to be coming in 2 laps time. I'm actually going to extend this stint by 1 lap because of the safety car. So as we come towards the end of lap 12, I believe Vettel is in the pits, as well as a few other people as well. So now we're jumping up to P3. And towards the lap 12 now. I think Bottas and Ricciardo have now pitted. So as we come around the final corner here and cross the start finish line, we will actually assume the lead of the race. I mean, obviously we've not pitted yet, so we're a little bit out of sync, but to be leading the lap at the end is quite impressive. So now, lap 13, we are going to be coming in on this lap. Don't want to be out on these tyres anymore. We're going to come in for a nice pair of fresh super softs. Come out towards the pit line, make sure we don't speed. It was an okay. Probably didn't lose that much time. Ricciardo now reassumes the lead of the race. I don't believe Sainz and Alonso are now going to not pitted yet. It's a good stop. 2.5 seconds. I think I probably released the clutch too early, so I lost a little bit of time there. But where are we going to come out? We're going to come out in P10 by the looks of it. just ahead of Leclerc. But actually, as we're heading towards turn 1, we're going to come out just ahead of Vettel. So on this lap, I knew Vettel was going to catch me. That wasn't a surprise at all. He was on the same pair of tyres as I was. So as we cut now towards the end of lap 14, there was a yellow flag for some reason. I'm not sure why. But Vettel's now closed up to us, and I'm not going to fight him. Peirre's now pitting, but I'm not going to fight Vettel at all. So I'm just going to move over, let him go past, let him use DRS, and we're just going to tuck in behind him. So currently running in P8. I think there's a few people who still have to make their stops yet. But yeah, there was no point fighting him. I was just going to lose time. I was just going to fall into clutches of people behind. But as we cut now towards lap 17, Vettel's actually overtaken Grosjean. So Grosjean, who's really out of sync. I believe he made it into Q3.
Virtual safety car deployed. Slow down and maintain a positive delta. Virtual safety car is deployed.
Lap 17, random virtual safety car. Allowed us to save a little bit of fuel. Nearly speed underneath this virtual safety car, but managed to bring it off enough that nothing really happens. And now Grosjean is actually out of sync, so I believe he pitted during the safety car from a pair of ultra softs to a pair of super softs, which I think I'll confirm in just a second when I do the team radio.
Grosjean is ahead of you. Okay, gap ahead is 1.2 seconds. You're closing in by around 1.4 seconds a lap. They're on old super softs. Their tyres are 16 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. The time last lap was a 1 minute 31.6.
So as Jeff confirmed there, he came in 16 laps ago, probably during the safety car, I would have thought. Maybe he had collision with Perez as his engine blew up, it's hard to really tell. But he's really going to eke out. I think he's going to go onto a pair of super softs again, so he's really going to eke out those tyres. Turn 3, lap 20, not quite close enough to make a move. But now as we cut towards the end of lap 20 here, you can see, got a good run out, DRS, and I'm like, I'm not getting held up by Grosjean any longer, so I'm going to nice send it down the inside. A little bit of contact. I think Grosjean probably wasn't expecting it, turned in on me. Fortunately, we don't get away with any damage or a reprimand at all.
We're currently 10 places above objective. Hang on to this as long as you can.
So we're P6, pretty solid. Really happy with where I am. Still kind of in the middle of nowhere. Grosjean's now behind us, but I believe as we cut towards, well, actually cut towards the race directory. So yeah, just confirming our suspicions. Did pit on lap 2 during the safety car onto a pair of super softs. Just cut towards lap 26 now. Max Verstappen has overtaken Grosjean. So it took him a few laps to catch back up again, I believe. So we've got to team radio. Oh, no, sorry. Another virtual safety car for some reason. I don't think there was actually any incident because of literally we are about to, this was like a 5 second virtual safety car, as now it's now going to end. So really random, really short virtual safety car. Just allowed us to back off a little bit, save a little bit of fuel, even though I didn't really knock anything down, and we're back to full racing again. So we've got Verstappen behind us, 12.3 seconds behind, just under 12.3 seconds behind us. So we've dropped him a fair bit during the pit stop phase. So we've got to lap 30 now. And I knew from my race strategy that I was actually really good on my tyres around here. So I knew I could make this stint work. We've even dropped Max by a little bit more, about half a second over the last few laps. Lap 31, Hamilton's now pitted onto a pair of soft tyres, as has Vettel. So Ferrari and Mercedes not having another pair of super softs, I believe. Bottas has now pitted onto a pair of softs the next lap. And I believe we're going to come out just ahead of him, but actually behind Raikkonen. So Raikkonen has really jumped us. He's also on a pair of softs. And I believe these guys are now going to the end of the race. So we're coming in 2 laps time. As confirmed by Jeff there, we're going to come in 2 laps time. We're going to do 22, 23 laps on another pair of super softs, a fresh pair of super softs. And nothing really exciting happened there. I think I've got, as we cut now to lap 35, pitting just before Vettel caught up to us. Actually, during this time, as we do this pit stop here, you'll notice we've actually dropped to 18 runners. Valtteri Bottas, I believe, had a mechanical failure. during that time. Didn't bring out anything, it didn't really affect anybody. Obviously it's another free place for us because Bottas was actually running ahead of us, so now we're actually running in P5. As we come out of the pits, Sainz and Alonso do get ahead of us, but they are out of sync because of pit stops. They haven't pitted yet, they've still only done one stop, so they're going to have to pit again. Gasly's now behind us, but I believe he's still got to stop again. So as we cut to the race directory now, just confirming our suspicions, everybody out in front of us that's meant to be there is on softs. Alonso and Sainz still have to pit again. And as you can see there, Valtteri Bottas has had mechanical failure, which kind of sucks for him, but it's another free place for us. So cutting towards the end of lap 36 here now, we've jumped Sainz and Alonso, they've now pitted. Peirre's now pitting, and now we're 20 seconds behind Hamilton. And it was kind of one of those now that I am just in the middle of nowhere now. I'm 20 seconds in front of Hamilton, I think, as we cut now to the end of lap 38. Hulkenberg's now behind us. He's now 13 seconds behind us, so we're kind of in the middle of nowhere's land. Actually, in his point, if you notice in the top right, Raikkonen has pitted again, which seemed really weird. He's pitted onto a pair of ultra soft tyres. He's done like 2 laps on those softs. Actually, as you can see, Sergei Sorokin, as he's come to lap Sorokin, he has hit him, probably damaged his front wing, so he's had to do a front wing change now as well. So I'm thinking, oh, okay.
The gap behind us is 12.2 seconds.
I've got Hulkenberg closing me a little bit, but Raikkonen, there's no way Raikkonen can make it to the end of the race on a pair of ultra soft tyres, so I'm just going to stick it out, just going to try and lap as quickly as possible, try and keep that lap down, that delta down, but unfortunately, because he's a Ferrari, because he's on ultra soft tyres, he just dropped me, and actually I do believe he's going to end up hitting again. So that really screwed over his strategy a little bit. Raikkonen, I think, was probably challenging for a podium place.
Not going to be able to run in this engine mode much longer. We're about a lap over target. Drop down to mix too soon.
So we do what the AI couldn't do. We lapped Sorokin. I believe it was Sorokin anyway. Marcus Ericsson's now out of the race on lap 43, just in front of us. I think that was mechanical failure again. Doesn't look like he's got any damage to him. Probably just mechanical failure. Nobody else was really around him, so at 46 now, Hulkenberg started to make a little bit of inroads on us.
Car behind is 10.2 seconds.
He's gained a few seconds, but he's not closing enough to really warrant any problems. We're 12 laps from the end, he's 10 seconds behind. I think he's gained 3 seconds in the last 6 laps. And just confirming there that Raikkonen's got the pace to be able to keep out in front of us. Nothing too major. As we come to lap 47 now, I believe this is Stroll, or this is the other Williams that we're going to be lapping. That's us by in a really stupid place. Holds us up a little bit, but nothing too major. I've probably only lost about half a second there, give or take. As we come to lap 48 now, coming through the same corner again. Hulkenberg's now actually 8.4 seconds, and we have a massive, massive moment. Managed to keep it out of the wall. Fortunately, I don't know how I managed to do that, but I did. But that leaves now, we've lost 1.6 seconds, which is a huge amount of time, especially to Hulkenberg, who's now closed in quite a bit. He's now 6.8 seconds behind us, so I was a little bit worried now. 10 laps to go, 6.8 seconds behind. But as we cut to lap 49, I believe we're now about to take back the position from Raikkonen, who's had to come in again for another pair of ultra softs, so confirming our suspicions that he couldn't run to the end. Vettel's also actually pitted from his softs onto a pair of ultra softs. So I don't really know what Ferrari were thinking with that, why they've done that.
Right, the car ahead has come in to put on the ultra soft tyre. The car ahead is now running ultra softs.
So Jeff just confirming that both Ferraris have pitted, both onto a pair of ultra softs, and I did actually want to try and keep.
Our gap to the car in front is 9.0 seconds.
I did actually want to try and defend this position from Raikkonen, but as we cap towards the end of lap 54 now, Raikkonen's caught up to us, unsurprisingly. I was going to try and defend from this position, but as we come out the final corner, just get up on the curbing a little bit too much, little bit of oversteer.
So they have an issue with their car, they're going to be slow.
And Raikkonen takes us. Unsurprisingly, Alonso has an issue, but really annoyed by that. Well, I was slightly annoyed by it. But Raikkonen takes back 4th place. Hulkenberg's now just about 8 seconds, just under 8 seconds behind us. So during that time we have actually dropped Hulkenberg. Raikkonen now sets the fastest lap of the race.
46.8 seconds.
Now 46 seconds off the pace of Ricciardo, which isn't surprising at all.
Gap behind is 7.1 seconds.
Hulkenberg's starting to close us a little bit, but that's just how it is as we cut to lap 58 now. Ricciardo wins the race, unsurprisingly. Apart from when we were out in front, he's pretty much led from start to finish. And as we come across the line now, it's going to be a nice, solid P5.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
It was a magnificent race and a drive right out of the top draw to take the win for Red Bull today. So, Ant, how exactly did they set themselves apart from the pack today?
Without a doubt, the safety car changed everything today. The key to their success was keeping calm and reacting to the situation quickly. We've seen teams in the past throw away wins because they were too hesitant, but here they were decisive, and that's allowed them to take the advantage.
So here come our winning drivers today, and what a race it was. There's been a big push at the factory lately to get these cars ready, and we can see the fruits of that labour today as Red Bull lift the winner's trophy.
So Daniel Ricciardo wins on home soil. Very impressive race from him. Like I've said, apart from when we were out in front, he's led from start to finish. Really good race. I'm really happy with 5th, really surprised by it. A little bit annoyed, probably should have been 4th. But confirming now, at the end of the race, we finished 5th. Peirre finished 11th, a little bit off of the pace of Alonso. Hulkenberg, I think, finished about 5.5 seconds behind us, give or take. So I was really happy with that race. So after this, we're going to cut to a interview.
Good day today. Tell us about it from your perspective. You're breaking all expectations. What's your secret?
So I was really happy with the car. So I'm gonna try and be a real sportsman here. I had a great car. It was really good to drive.
You scraped the walls a few times. Were you struggling for grip?
Don't really know what she was talking about. I didn't have that too many. I mean, there was a few times where I lost grip. I was going to go for downforce, but actually I think the car was just a bit heavy around the corners sometimes.
Did you have the wrong fuel strategy today, or was it your management?
I probably ran a mix a bit too long, but I wasn't really. I think the safety car definitely helped, but she's probably just referring to the fact that I was running in rich for a long time.
Appreciate your time.
I didn't feel like my management was that bad at all. I think I managed the ERS and everything pretty well. So cutting through now to the breakdown, we're probably going to take the lead. We beat Peirre in qualifying, we've beaten him in the race, going to earn a nice chunk of resource points, which will go towards developing the car. So I'm actually going to stick all the upgrades that I did throughout this weekend at the end. I think the first upgrades I'm going to do is going to be general wear. I definitely learned from 2017 that you need to focus on the durability, and especially as a backmarker team, we really want to make sure that our durability is good, so that we have to take less engine penalties and take free positions from people who have to retire or have to take engine penalties. So we're going to purchase that. That's going to come in for Bahrain. Got my engineer to recommend me an upgrade. Unsurprisingly, he's gone for the engine. So I'm going to take the first one, and I'm actually going to focus on quality control, make sure these parts actually go on the car, not reducing the cost necessarily, as we got to later on in the weekend. So that was the first bit of the weekend. I've got enough resource points, I'm actually going to stick another quality control upgrade on as well. I might stick one more on, but it might be just in case one actually fails. But that's going to be it for this episode. We have got an invitation event to go to, but I'm actually going to put that in at the next race for part 2 for Bahrain. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed. I'm just looking through it now through all the general wear, how my components are weared. I hope you guys enjoyed. My name's been James. If you feel like it, I have a Patreon. Please, if you want to, subscribe to that. Subscribe to the channel to keep up to date. And I hope to see you guys in the next episode. Take care, everybody.